You mean you inject estrogen cooked up in some depressed trans girl's bathtub directly into your cardoid every other day? I got 500 plus minors on HRT, not just 7. I wonder why you got kicked off of PayPal. You were just selling illegal drugs on the internet to minors.
Because I stand by supporting the DIY HRT directory.
This person is literally talking about like sexually charged shit and saying their age when they're underage. So Keffals has been coming up again recently with the Vosh lolly stuff, and Keffals jumped to Vosh's defense. So people are starting to bring up old things about Keffals. Mudahar was talking about the Catboy Ranch in this tweet, where he says, over 2 years ago, an infamous creator known as Keffals launched a viral campaign on the internet. As I research more about this event and her, I've come across disturbing revelations of her Catboy Ranch. Can't go too into detail, but it's an insane story and none of it is pleasant. I planned to cover this sooner, but in the last few weeks, I've had time to truly put towards projects and this was on the top. If anyone wants to come forward with more information on the now deleted information, please contact me via DMs. For some reason, Keffals didn't anticipate that people were just going to start like digging up old stuff. And honestly, I didn't really see that coming either. Like, I thought that everyone sort of knew about the DIY HRT directory, the Catboy Ranch, and the Kiwi Farm stuff, but people are bringing it up like as if it's like brand new. So I just wanted to, since I know so much about all this shit, I wanted to make a stream doing a deep dive on it. So there was also this article that was posted. A transgender Twitch streamer is facing scrutiny once again after admitting to sponsoring a DIY hormone directory that was reportedly accessed by minors. It goes way beyond that, by the way. So Josh Moon retweeted Mudahar saying, just say that Kiwi Farms was right. And Keffals says, if the owner of Kiwi Farms is cheering you on, you need to reconsider your life choices. What? Why? Just because like something is like accepted on Kiwi Farms makes it like wrong to agree with it or something. So Keffals had this friend named Bobposting. Bobposting was another trans person that Keffals, I guess, had hooked up with like a few times. They had some sort of like sexual relationship. Keffals posts this completely fucking vile tweet thinking about that time Bobposting was chopping jalapenos and forgot to wash her hands and then started fingering me. Jesus fucking Christ. So Bobposting has a history even before the DIY HRT directory of assisting minors to get on hormone replacement therapy. Bobposting makes money from donations for basically helping minors get on DIY HRT. Bobposting has routinely bragged about the amount of minors that they have gotten on HRT. Here we have Bobposting talking about, I got 500 plus minors on HRT, not just 7. And then Destiny responds saying, Bobposting is an actual pedophile. Be careful, kids. Later on, Bobposting also refers to the fact that they got 1,000 minors on HRT. So this was clearly a significant amount of minors that they were proud of. Now, in my opinion, this is like some really weird thing to be parading around. It sort of feels like this DIY HRT directory and everything are like aimed at minors more than anyone else. Here we have Bobposting talking about pink pilling, which if you don't know, pink pilling is basically grooming someone into becoming trans or convincing them that they are trans. I have unironically pink pilled like half a dozen minors. And by pink pill, I mean, point them to HRT resources after they reach out. I can't do stuff that isn't prescription because I can't buy anything without my parents' consent. I mean, only if they find out. This shit just seems so fucking predatory and disgusting to me. Here's an earlier tweet. This one says, no one tell him I've helped more than one minor order. I just got a triple-digit number of people access to necessary medical care last weekend. This is just true, though. Was I supposed to say something like, I groomed a Discord full of minors into being trans and sold them bathtub estrogen laced with meth? Okay, this is a joke, but this is also true. My bathtub estrogen empire needs a new distributor. Also, I need a Chloe motor to be my friend. Dude, I hate how people talk like this. It's so weird. Chloe motor. Bathtub estrogen collage. You mean you inject estrogen cooked up in some depressed trans girl's bathtub directly into your cardoid every other day? Yes. So this reference to bathtubs is not just like a rumor or like a joke. Your bathtub estrogen dealer is here to force femme you. When making bathtub tea or E, what's the best way to make sure it doesn't get contaminated from my tub? So this is Keffals' friend. Keffals collaborated with Bobposting to create this resource, this website known as the DIY HRT Directory. This site was essentially promoted during the whole Drop Kiwi Farms campaign. On this website's guide, this is an archive, it says, if you're a minor, get a trusted adult to purchase the Bitcoin for you, or go to your local Bitcoin ATM. So clearly advertising to minors. On this website, they basically had guides on how to transition, whether you wanted to be male to female or female to male. They have all this info about HRT and all this stuff. DIY HRT refers to any HRT that is obtained without a prescription. They talk about home brewing HRT. There was also a guide going around which teaches you how to make it from raw materials. One of the websites that they linked was called Otokonoko Pharma. This website, this vendor, Otokonoko, is extremely sus. This is an archive of their website, the first available archive. They use like anime branding and like anime girls to basically sell this idealized image of like, oh, it's so easy. You can be a cute girl. You just have to, take my hormones. So I decided to make accessible hormones to help those that fight against dysphoria in their everyday lives. We take every safety measure to maintain a safe and potent product while staying accessible to everyone. Interesting to note that. They take every safety measure. Check this out. Unfortunately, we're not accepting any more payments using PayPal. It's the third time I got one of my accounts blocked, and I can't make a new one. So now they only accept crypto. I wonder why you got kicked off of PayPal. You were just selling illegal drugs on the internet to minors. So this website actually still exists. I think they've had to move domains a couple times, if I'm not mistaken, because this is all like illegal. Like this is obviously not allowed. Even these people advertise their products as safe and pure, but recently people started finding cat hairs. If you're claiming that your product is really pure or whatever, how would you let something like this slip in? Like what, how do you even make that mistake? Like just think about all the other like shit that you can't see that might be in there. So this is not the only weird thing about Otokonoko Pharma. The name itself means femboy, but it also has an implication of little boy. It's like a pet name for a kid, but they changed the gender on it to make it mean like little girl boy, basically, which is very fucking creepy. They also use lolly art on their packaging to advertise their hormones. Again, this whole company's thing is like anime girl branding. Like, oh, you could literally become this anime girl if you take our drugs. Another thing on this packaging that is pretty alarming is it says, keep out of reach of parents. And then it also says, don't look at my giant girl dick. That's fucking disgusting. But keep out of reach of parents. Is this like not like clearly intended for minors? I don't see anyone over 18 unless they're just being lazy and they don't want to take the time to go through the proper channels to get on this stuff. Maybe they don't have insurance, but I don't think that estrogen is very expensive. So it's $30 to get it from a pharmacy in a vial. Essentially, this whole website, the marketing of this brand and everything, it's like clearly in some way fetishized. And not only is it fetishized, it's also being pushed on children. They don't have any sort of age verification when you're buying. Of course not. It's Bitcoin. They don't have any way to verify your age, and they don't care, because I think that this person has like a weird thing, sort of like Bobposting has, where they're like proud of like somehow converting kids to being trans. I genuinely think that. Keffals continued to stand behind this website when asked about it. Keffals stood strong, saying there was nothing wrong with it. It's just a resource and it's helping trans kids that don't have access to healthcare.
I'm glad how well this went because I stand by supporting the DIY HRT directory. Just like in the same way that AOC decided to back a resource for abortion pills after Roe v. Wade happened. Literally the same thing. When the state steps in and says this piece of healthcare is illegal, the community should absolutely step up and find a way to provide that.
But as soon as people started archiving the website from Kiwi Farms and also Destiny's community when they were doing the Keffals manifesto, Bobposting started changing the website. So the first thing they did was they added an age gate. So they had a box that you had to check that said I'm 18 to access the site. The second thing they did was delist Otokonoko Pharma. They also removed that language that I showed you guys at the beginning where it talks about having adults buy Bitcoin for you. So this sentence was removed. If you're a minor, get a trusted adult to purchase the Bitcoin for you. Now, throughout all of this, Keffals continued standing behind the DIY HRT directory and Bobposting, saying, there's nothing wrong with this at all. I firmly believe that this is the same as providing people safe access to abortions or whatever. Bobposting first announces on September 19th that they are no longer working with the DIY HRT directory due to backlash that they have received. Keffals then the next day stops backing the site herself. So clearly there was something weird going on that they knew was not right and was bad, that people were criticizing them for, that they were ashamed of and had to hide from. Now, Keffals has gone back on this a few times, saying like, no, I still stand behind, you know, I don't regret supporting this or whatever. But it's pretty clear that recently Keffals is definitely starting to regret it a little bit based on the amount of backlash that she is facing and the fact that she hoped people would just forget about this and that it would just go away. Destiny has some more info on the Keffals manifesto. It's on destinygg.substack.com. Okay, this is another thing. This is incredibly strange that they added an age warning, given how Sorrenti and Chloe have explicitly advocated for the site to be used by minors. And they have all these links of clips and tweets talking about how they support giving hormones to minors and that it's just necessary medical treatment. So the fact that they add an age warning is like hypocritical, because if they think that there's nothing wrong with what they're doing, why add that age warning then? It's also strange to add an age disclaimer when she's claimed the website is simply an information guide.
The DIY HRT directory does not provide hormones. It's literally a website filled with links to other sites. Just an information guide.
And the fact that this stuff is going on behind like these people's parents' backs, and Keffals herself is helping people do this shit, I just feel like it's not right. And there's a reason why Keffals stopped promoting that stuff directly. Now we're going to rewind a little bit to the Catboy Ranch, okay? Catboy Ranch was a Discord and a Twitter page that was run by Keffals before she became famous for the Drop Kiwi Farm stuff. So this was another Discord that centered around gender stuff, catboys, trans people. Now, I personally have looked at all of the evidence and stuff from this, and I don't think it's like super substantial, but I think it is worth talking about. And I am curious to know what Mutahar knows about it that maybe I don't. So basically the controversy of the server revolves around the fact that it's got a lot of minors on it and they're not really very careful about making sure minors are engaging with adults in like a normal, non-weird way. For example, there were these minors on the server that were openly flirting and like talking about themselves sexually in these servers, in these public Discord servers. This person says, I took a pic of my ass, but haven't sent it to anybody because I'm 13. What if I have ears and wear a skirt? And then this guy replies, then you are a cute little bottom cat boy. Another thing that went on with the Catboy Ranch server is they sent out these personalized collars to members. Give me a second. They had these little like heart-shaped like dog or I guess cat collars. Keffals ran Catboy Ranch and had a bunch of under 18 Twitter femboys get collars with their name on it. Here they are. Femboy Finance. This is that person's name. Property of Catboy Ranch. I want a collar. With the collar tied up nice and tight. Can't read the beginning of that one. I want collar. Still got to get my Catboy Ranch collar tag. Now, if you ask me, this collar thing is like definitely a fetish. This is definitely a sexually charged thing. And it's very weird that these people are sending out callers to people without verifying their ages. Because I think this is just like an inherently sexual thing. Like, is that really that like crazy to think? You're not vetting anyone. And also, as we know, Keffals does pander to people who are younger. The Catboy Ranch account was in a server with 13-year-olds talking about sharing nudes. Same person over here. The person claiming that they're 13 and they took a pic of their ass, but they can't share it. Very weird thing to say. Very weird that that is taking place there. This person should have been banned instantly from this server. Just that's completely fucked. Put yourself in like Keffals' shoes. Imagine you're running a Discord server and someone says something like that. Now, if one of your server members goes and like grooms them or does some weird shit with them, you're now partially responsible for that because you didn't stop this person who was like a young teenager being very overtly sexual in a server that you know has adults in it as well. So this should have been stopped right away. I don't know how active this server was, but I don't think that it was particularly like big. Like I don't think it was a huge server that would have been impossible to manage. I feel like people would have noticed this and pointed it out as really weird. People did bring up actually that they shouldn't have minors in the server. This is a probable victim of grooming. And this person says, why would we bar minors from the server on the off chance that they'll be groomed? Don't you think there are better ways to fix the issues of grooming and pedophilia on the internet than just barring children from using the internet? It is literally sexually suggestive. How? If they have been talking about having sex with men, you can show me where. But your sexuality is a part of you. There's nothing wrong with it. You're kind of the one introducing the adult-oriented element. Dude, they're literally talking. This person is literally talking about like sexually charged shit and saying their age when they're underage. That's really fucking weird. That is super, super bad that that is taking place in this server. Something needs to be done about this. They definitely should have banned this person. Keffals did also make a few comments on Twitter, although I don't know how much we can really like use this as like hard evidence of anything weird, because this is literally the only example of this ever happening. So basically this person posts like a selfie of them. I'm obviously not going to show it. It's of them wearing like a skirt and like a crop top. And then Keffals says, damn, your ass fat. What are your pronouns? I feel like these people need to be like making sure before they make any of these like comments like this, like flirting with each other or like, I don't know, just saying shit that's like sexual in any way. I feel like you really should be like making sure that the person is of age. And yeah, Keffals' community's just, obviously she doesn't really care about whether there's minors on them or not. So she needs to, if that's the case, right, you need to be making sure that you're taking steps to protect them. You have sort of a responsibility, especially when you're specifically pandering to minors. I feel like you then really do have a particular responsibility to keep them safe and like keep this weird shit from going on. Now, several years later, when Keffals had to deal with the public backlash of the Catboy Ranch existing, she lied and claimed that they actually had photo ID verification in order to get into the server, which this alleged member says was never a thing. And now just today, Keffals decided to completely nuke the Catboy Ranch Discord server. Keffalcord is being nuked. There's an ongoing harassment campaign and we don't have the resources to monitor a public server 24/7. So the decision was made to delete it and reintegrate Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube subs back into Catboy Ranch. So, I mean, obviously, there's a few ways that you can interpret this. This is not 100% evidence of anything, but it definitely seems sort of like people are starting to go back and look at messages and look for evidence of stuff. And Keffals just sort of, now that, she's getting all this backlash, and now Keffals just sort of deletes everything to make sure there's nothing weird on there. Because, I mean, the implication is that she didn't do a good enough job monitoring it and making sure it was well moderated and keeping, young people safe on there or whatever. So anyways, that's the Catboy Ranch stuff. I'm very curious to see where Mutahar goes with it. I plan on posting more stream clips like this in the future, so if you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe and you'll get more of these. Thanks for watching. See you next time.